Hello everyone, hope you're well. Thanks for taking a look. Today we're taking a very quick look at a new collection from Montblanc. It's the Montblanc Meisterstuck X Olympic Heritage, and there are two distinct releases. There's the Paris 1924 and Chamonix 1924. Obviously this year saw the Origin collection, which was 100 years of Meisterstuck, and they're continuing that theme for the year by looking back at both the Summer and Winter Olympics from 1924. They both come in the new kind of eco-style packaging, which I know is a talking point in itself. They come with their little booklets, cloth pouch. Yeah, I mean, it's, as I say, the eco-style packaging I know has created a lot of debate anyway. Some people really like it, others think it's a downgrade on what you used to get on special editions, but we'll save that for another video. Anyway, let's take a closer look. The collections are very distinctive, so it's easy to tell them apart. The Paris takes on the red theme, and the Chamonix takes on the kind of blue-grey theme. We'll start with the Paris version. They've kind of concentrated on the Legrand when it comes to the fountain pen, whereas with the Chamonix, and we're talking resin versions here, they've gone classic. If you look at the solitaire versions, there is a Chamonix Legrand, but if we look at resin versions, it's basically Legrand, Paris, Classique, Chamonix. But obviously the first point is this very distinctive red resin. They class it as, well, they call it deep red, which the reason for it is it was effectively the colour, the colour for the Paris 1924 games, the official colour. It's not a really bright, like kind of something like a Namiki Emperor, that kind of very bright red. It's slightly more muted than that. It works really nicely against the gold, so you get the gold-plated cone, cap top, and then obviously the usual with the rings and the clip. And around the cap top, you have the Olympic rings, and then this wreath of leaves. Now, the reason the wreath design was chosen is it basically reflects a similar wreath given to the victors in the 1924 Olympics. It's pretty subtle, so obviously they've, for very different reasons, they've used the kind of wreath design on the UNICEF pens before, but actually it's pretty subtle. Your eyes are mostly drawn to the red, so there are lots of little details, but none of them make it kind of look wrong. They're all relatively subtle. There's the engraving on the cap, which says Olympic Games Paris 1924. Again, that's relatively subtle. We obviously saw a similar idea for different reasons on the Around the World pens, whereas I'd say this is less noticeable, and obviously the Orient Express had a design on the cap as well, but this is definitely less noticeable against the red. The nib itself features an engraving of a javelin thrower. So let's have a look at that. Have a look. 14K nib, and the reason they chose the javelin throwers, it was a nod to a vintage poster from that year. So yeah, I mean I think it's a nice release. The Legrand has a UK price point of £780. They've gone for the kind of the classic or the historical coral resin on the snow cap, well, surrounding the snow cap. the yellow gold almost has a slightly warmer tinge to it, I'd say. But it works really nicely. As with other Legrands, it's a piston filler, so it's bottled ink for this one. But yeah, I think these will be popular. Especially, obviously, it ties in nicely for Montblanc that there's the Summer Olympic Games in Paris again this year. But yeah, I think it's a nicely put together pen. If you want a Legrand but you want something different resin wise, this works really well. I know we've obviously started branching out with releases like the Glacier and other bits like this, but the red is really distinctive and works nicely. So let's take a look at the Chamonix. Obviously a very different appearance. The official colour is known as a kind of bluey grey, and again the reason that was chosen is because it was the official colour of the Chamonix Games. Obviously it reflects that kind of winter theme, that kind of iciness. It's slightly warmer in tone compared to, if you're familiar with the Glacier pens, they're very icy, whereas because there's the grey tinge to it, it's slightly warmer. Again, works well with the platinum coated trim. The theme is similar in as much as you get the Olympic rings at the top, Olympic heritage, and then a similar wreath design, and then the engraving on the cap, which has Olympic Winter Games Chamonix 1924. So the theme is obviously similar. They've gone metal cone again, but yeah, this one's a classique. On the nib you get a ski jumper, appropriate. There we go. Again, 14K nib, and similarly the Legrand was a piston filler. This is traditional classique, so it's a cartridge converter, so you can choose bottled ink or you can fit cartridges. Yeah, again, nicely executed. I think both of these are pens where you'll really like the theme and they fit into either collection, or you just want it as a standalone piece, or you'll look at it and go, yeah, that's not for me. I just want I want something without all without the Olympic engravings and bits like that. But I think in terms of the theme, they're nicely executed. You've got the coral coloured resin again surrounding the snow cap, which gives the historical nod. The UK retail price on the Classique is the Classique fountain pen is £680. There are then ballpoints and other bits to go with it, and say there's solitaire versions. Yeah, nicely put together. I think they'll be popular. I really like the grey blue resin. I think the red is nice, but I like this kind of grey blue. It's just a personal preference. But we had our stock arrive a couple of days ago, and they've been really popular. So far, the Paris pens have been more popular than the Chamonix. But yeah, thanks for listening and looking, and we hope to see you again soon. Take care.